What's up, guys? This is Heist, and today we're playing Train Simulator Classic. I guess they call it now. They keep changing the name. I guess changing the years got a little old. And this time we're going to be giving the FEF add-on from Smokebox another shot. But once again, this time with our second shot, we are once again joined by Justin Kardas, who's here to basically pilot me through this, because you've actually run over some of this territory, haven't you?
I've done a little bit of training over there, so I know a little bit about the territory, and I've run quite a bit in the simulator over this, so...
Well, good. Well, so you'll actually be somewhat qualified to tell me what to do, hopefully, because Lord knows, last time I tried to do something, it didn't work too well. We are on the Soldier Summit route, and we're at the awesome Rio Grande Depot in Salt Lake City, and we're going to be heading out east to Salt Lake, heading towards the Moffat, yes?
That is correct.
And we're going to see how fast we can get this thing to scoot. I just had a great episode come out playing Train Sim World 2 with the British stuff, and we broke 100 miles an hour, so it'd be kind of cool to see something big and American do it, because, you know, when it's 16 feet tall, 10 feet wide, and doing 100 miles an hour, it's a little bit cooler than the itty-bitty little stuff, so just saying. Alright, so I guess we'll be hardcore, and we'll kick off the fireman here. Right? That's the way to do
crazy.
this. You say leave the fireman on?
I would, just because, you know, with a coal burner, you can do it. Oil burner, it's just too much to change all at once, for me, personally.
Yeah, it is a lot, and I think we can get into that a little bit more, but let's get this thing underway, and then we'll sit here and talk about it. So,
sounds good.
Kick the headlight on, and right before we started filming, we noted that the Union Pacific stuff has bright first, and then the dim is further away, which is opposite to how the engines I've seen wired up, but, you know, everyone's got to be special.
At least it's according that way to the electrical blueprints.
Yeah, it's wired to the print, standard print and template, and it's actually standard. How about that? Anyways, let's go. Got the cylinder cocks open, bars going forward. We are in release. We are releasing the independent brake, and let's start bringing the throttle to the ceiling here.
And you want to bleed off the independent just a little more.
Check the gauge, ding dong. That was pretty good. Nothing like a little bit of wheel slip. Make sure that the fire is, nice and sucked out as you leave the station.
Yeah, I've run this engine enough to where I can get the drivers to quarter slip, so...
That's awesome. I love that that's even a thing in these sims. Alright, that's probably enough cylinder cocks. Those are annoying as hell. What's our speed through the yard here?
Speed through the, you know what? I'm good on my job insurance. You can just run it.
Oh, okay, good.
So, anyway, so the speed through there is about 12, and it's 12 all the way through to the end of street running.
We're just blowing through this red signal here. It's fine. Hey, it was green for a second. We planned that.
Totally.
Alright, well, the throttle's now on the ceiling, but we've got the cutoff set pretty far back, so... Oh yeah, this is, like, really street running, isn't it?
That's how it was.
That's cool. So, what year is this route modeled for? I'm not familiar with it.
I believe it sets, judging by the power that it has, late 80s or early 90s. Don't quote me on it, though.
Yeah, it seemed to make sense with all the big Rio Grande power before it was sent off. Oh, I've even got a speed gauge, and we are not doing the 12 miles an hour. The chuffs sound like we're doing 12, but I'm used to not 80-inch drivers, so I guess we can just piss off the fireman who's just gotten the fire nice and roaring, and we'll just shut the throttle and coast. And then you get the
best kind of engineer. Right.
Hey, remember when I told you we were going to do stuff? Now I'm going to change my mind. Actually, I want to give it a little steam, because if I recall, one of the things of the model is, obviously you can hear, is that as you shut off all the way, you start getting a lot of rod clank as the rods are banging around. So you want to keep it under a small amount of power, is that right?
That's correct. You want to give it a little bit of steam while you're drifting, so that way you keep your cylinders lubricated, and also give a little bit of cushion for your main crank pin.
There you go. which is especially important on really big stuff. So, big pistons, big drivers, man, you got to take care of them. It's one of those things that we don't... I mean, we have to worry about it a little bit in the narrow gauge, but not necessarily to the same extent, because we don't have the speed or mass or anything. And this is quite the interlocking we're coming through here. And a grade crossing, but it's street running. I don't know, I'm going to blow for it anyway. It wasn't 15 seconds, but, you know. I never said I was a pro. Oh, wait, I say that in titles of videos. I never said I was actually a pro.
Hey, the FRA hasn't been existed yet, so...
Hey, perfect. We're still in ICC time. All right, well, we are out of the street running, and the train's cleared the interlocking, so I'm going to put the throttle on the ceiling unless you have any other suggestions.
Yeah, I would keep it around 35 till you get to the other end of Roper.
Okay, well, that's where we are. So sorry, firemen, once again. Sorry, till we get to the other end of Roper?
Yeah, to this end of Roper, actually, and then you can go all the way up to 65.
There we go. Oh, this is cool. This is actually a pretty well built-out town, too. I mean, there's a fair amount of industry trackage and buildings going on. It's not as forlorn as some of the early routes that I've seen. And it's fun. You know, I'm so used to just trying to manually do everything that watching the auto firemen actually move things around as we go on. It's like I had the throttle wide open and the firing quadrant was all the way open, but now it's pretty much off. And we've got the safety lifting, so, you know, I'm just confusing the hell out of the poor dude, but he's invisible, so what does it matter? So, Justin, you fired a hell of a lot more oil than me. What do you have to say about firing oil versus firing coal?
Well, it saves your back, that's for sure.
True fact. Definitely true.
I like oil because, you know, it's easier to do. It's more nuanced. You have to have more control over what's going on in the firebox. And, you know, the only drawbacks, you know, are, you know, of course, the smell. And I don't know. When I fire coal, it seems like there's more of an overall heat content in the coal versus oil, and I think that has more to do with the grades of oil we have nowadays compared to like the bunker C stuff, which is what these engines used to run.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it can seem a little anemic on the fire, but overall it can be pretty good.
So for folks that aren't terribly familiar with the different firing styles and what you really have to do, I mean, for me, firing coal is really, really about planning ahead. You got to know what's coming up so that your fire's already ready, because you physically have to put the mass of the fire in there with a scoop, and you have to do it, you know, by you and your technique and your skill. And you got to be able to read the fire and know where the coal needs to go. And we talked a little bit about that in some of the 101 videos that I've done, and we'll have a coal firing one coming out soon enough when I can get time to go through and edit it. But oil is kind of the same way in regards to the water level. You got to know the railroad and the territory and make sure that your water level is at the correct level for any changes coming, because as we go uphill, the water will slosh back and increase in level in the back but decrease in the front, all that stuff. So you got to plan ahead there, because you can't make instant changes. But with the oil, you can make instant changes. You have a valve that just say more fire, and you can very quickly create a very big fire or very quickly lose all of your fire with oil. So, you know, I'd let you talk about it more, because I've only really fired oil the one time, and it was 2 cars on a flat railroad. So it was not anything, but it's mostly about watching what the engineer does, and any change that the engineer makes, there's got to be a corresponding change in the oil fire, right?
That's correct. You got to change either your atomizer, your oil level, what's going into the firebox, or more often than not, both. And, you know, you definitely put a hot fire in it real quick. I'm trying to think of the PC term to say there, but...
but it's the railroad, and none of the terms we use are necessarily PC.
I mean, you know me, if...
well, yeah.
This is going to be on YouTube. I've heard your bleeping outs, whistles, so if I talk how I normally talk, it's going to sound like we're a doubleheader.
Well, you know, as we do. I can get a recording of of a Hancock long bell for you, and then that can be your swear or a sensor whistle for inappropriate railroad terminology.
That works. But so you got to make any change. You can put a real hot fire in it real quick. On the flip side of that, you can put too hot of a fire in it too quick and cause the roundhouse to hunt you down.
That sounds about right. Now, what does too hot of a fire look like? I mean, is it just too much oil, or is it plug flues, or like what are the symptoms of I've overfired the hell out of this thing?
You'll look into the firebox and it'll look like it's raining. You'll have leaks coming from the flues. You'll have broken stay bolts because you've heated the sheets too quick. Especially if you're firing an engine that's been converted from a coal burner to an oil burner. There tends to be not as many flexi stays. So flexible stay bolts are very important for oil burning engines.
Indeed. And so is refractory brick. So a lot of coal engines have a brick arch or some amount of fire brick in them, which refractory brick is basically fancy thing for, really strong, endurance brick work that you can put inside of a thing like a kiln or something, or an oven, or in our case, a firebox. But even more important is having that in an oil-burning locomotive, where you need to have the heat retained and have some amount of capacitance between what you can do with the fire itself and then the actual metal sheets. So a lot of engines will have their fireboxes lined with fire brick.
And and that helps also direct the path which the oil goes, and also it helps protect the side sheets from getting too hot and getting stress fractures in it.
Yeah, you made a good point talking about the flexi stays, and we've talked about this a little bit in a couple different videos that we've done on the channel. But when they converted the 493 at the Durango and Silverton, sister to 491, to burn oil, they put a whole Flannery pattern of stay bolts in it. So they put a whole, something like over 1,000 flexible stay bolts in that locomotive for the oil conversion, whereas originally it probably had maybe 20. So that's how critical it is.
And don't forget to inspect your stays, too.
Indeed, yes. Make sure you look at them, and stay bolts have telltale holes drilled through them so that if they do break, you get, the water space starts to leak to either the outside or the inside. And you're supposed to hammer and hydro and test them on at least every annual inspection and make sure that everything's all happy in there before you can proceed on. But, if you start to have, sprinklers in the firebox or down the side sheets, you got some problems. But that's that. So it looks like we're starting up a little bit of a grade. We're at track speed at 70 through here. This is cool. This is a nice little consist, and we talked about it a little bit before we started on. The Overland scheme, the gray, and particularly the gray and silver, not the gray and yellow. That's one of the nicest paint schemes I've ever seen on one of the American locomotives. I mean, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, I'd like to see that paint scheme come back.
Come on, Ed.
Just
please.
throwing it out there.
You've got a big boy now. You can paint the 844 all doll it up again for us. That's awesome.
But I'd like to also talk a little bit about how the model simulates oil firing.
Yeah.
So you got the blower, which is important when you're stationary.
Yep.
You have to have blower when you're stationary as an oil burner.
Oh, you physically have to have it.
You need to have that draft. You need to have air coming into the firebox because, unlike a coal burner, you have to constantly keep air in, otherwise your fire goes out.
Okay, so the atomizer itself is not necessarily enough to draw in fresh air past the burner, or?
I mean, you can, but then you set your pan on fire, and then you set the ties on fire,
and we'd like to not burn down the railroad. Got it. Noted.
Then you watch somebody try to put out an oil fire with a garden hose. That's
and then you set your journal boxes on fire because, of course, there's a trailing truck underneath it, and then the roundhouse comes and finds you again, and then you end up not being a fireman anymore. Got it. Blower important. Okay. What's next?
So you got the atomizer.
Yep.
Which that's what controls the steam pressure, which is what atomizes or breaks up the oil. into a fine mist, so that way the oil can combust.
Yeah, because you can't just... It's not like you're burning buckets of oil or that you're flinging oil in right there. You have the oil coming through a pipe, and then it gets sent through basically with this the firing valve, right, that meters the flow, but then the atomizer actually basically does what, you know, injectors do in the case of a car, right, where it puts a nice squirt of fuel in there. But in this case, it's continuous and done by steam, so incredibly important.
One of the easiest things I've come up with to explain it is think of a squirt bottle. If you're just shooting a stream, you have no atomizer. If you turn that little knob back and then you're shooting a mist, that's a lot of atomizer.
There you go. And so with the atomizer, I've had a lot of people with a lot of really stiff opinions about the atomizer. Anytime I hear about guys talking about oil firing, it's like that's the hot subject. It's like, how much atomizer do you run with? Are you one of the guys that likes a bunch or just a little? What's your thoughts on it?
Me personally, this is my own personal, unprofessional opinion. I like to only use as much atomizer as necessary to give you a clean burning engine.
There you go. That is what I've heard from some of my buddies who have done big time oil burning on a couple big engines. So that seems to be a smart take, but I have no grounds to base it upon myself. So,
and if you have enough atomizer to where the engine is drumming while you're working, you're doing it wrong.
There you go.
But and then in this, how we simulated that was, if you have too much atomizer, the exhaust on the locomotive turns a nice little blue shade, which is realistic.
Oh, that's actually really cool. And I forgot to mention it this time. We mentioned it last time when Justin was on with the big boy, but Justin actually helps beta test all these Smokebox releases, so really good insider feedback here, and you provide a lot of the historical data from the UP originally, so that's why some of these models are actually as good as they are, is folks like Justin helping to supply that information. So
yeah, there's a group of us that have all come together, and Smokebox builds a beautiful product.
No kidding.
This engine was built with quite a few blueprints, but some were missing, and it still looks perfect.
Yeah, it's just truly, truly beautiful. I mean, the amount of work and detail and stuff that goes into every little piece of it, there's a lot of care that comes into it. So I'm really excited to see the Challengers that are coming soon.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it, very much so.
We'll have the trio. We'll have to convince him to make the 412-2 next, because why not? If we're going to go big nonsense Union Pacific power.
Big nonsense. That sums those engines up to a T. It's really funny when you look at like the old timetables on speed restrictions and everything for the UP. That class had its own speed restrictions in certain areas.
That's hilarious. How fast can it go? Not.
Especially backing up through like switches.
Oh, I bet.
It's half of what the speed limit is for most of the engines.
Oh my goodness. Well, when you got 12 coupled drivers, even with a did they have one or more than one blind? I can't remember. But
I honestly don't know that off the top of my head.
I know they had at least one set. I'm not sure if they had more than one, but yeah, flangeless drivers so that they could squeeze around the corners better. But even then, you can only do so much. So
it's like 346's grotesquely overweight cousin.
Indeed. Yeah, except it's got a couple more wheels to hold it on. One of my favorite sayings about the early C classes at the Rio Grande with their two blind drivers in the middle. It's like, no wonder you saw them upside down in the creek so often. They only had two wheels holding them on in the front.
This is why I like 3/4 drivers, but
yeah, well,
I'll go there.
CNS stuff, We're in Rio Grande territory right now, man.
We're different.
So we've just been cruising nice along at 70. I mean, just putting with no issues. I mean, do we have permission to break track speed, or is there a higher speed limit that comes up at some point?
You know what? Let's see what this engine can do.
I like the sound of that. The Brits, we got up to like 114, in the Stainer Jubilee, and I would really just like to squash Mallard's record with something. And if it was the 844, that'd be nice. So we'll give it the beans here. So get that firing valve all the way to the front. Yeah, that's right. Fireman was like, I was not prepared for this. We were putting along, and there goes the gauge. We'll bring the cutoff back a little bit, but gotta get a little speed going here.
And there's also 2 ways once you get up to high speed, how you can get there.
Oh, yeah?
So you can either cut it back all the way, just keep putting in less and less steam, or you can close the throttle and use your back pressure gauge to put down the same amount of pressure, but have it through more of a stroke, so that way it's more even on the power stroke, if you will, through the whole rotation of the wheel.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is actually a concept that I've never heard of before. So you're saying I can, rather than running with the bar like we're in a podunk slow narrow gauge town, you can dial back the throttle and let the valve actually move a little bit further in the steam chest so that you're getting a more constant stream of steam or a more smooth, longer power stroke. Is that the thought?
Yeah, pretty much a little bit more of a longer power band.
Interesting, yeah, because with the cutoff so high, I mean, it's really limited with how much steam's actually going in there. But so what?
And that's like it speeds over 110.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see if we can't get there. That'll be a fun technique. Yeah, I've never gotten to go 110, so let's let's try and get up there. We are scooting a little bit here, doing 78. These are nice big curves. This is fun. God,
yeah, I'll let you know where the curve is. Where I've taken it over at 85. It's a little scary.
Gotcha. Will we fly off if if we go too fast? Because I realized in Train Sim World, at least, that you're just slot car glued in, at least, in my last video, which was hilarious. I blitzed around a 20-mile-an-hour curve doing about 90, so it's a little ridiculous.
Kind of takes me back to the old MSTS days.
Right? The gauge only goes up to 100. Come on, we gotta push the envelope here.
Oh, it does something funny at 100.
Does it? The needle keep going, I hope. That'd be funny.
You'll see. So, since we've got the safety lifting, we'll just give it a little bit more.
Feed it a little bit more and see what Fireman's doing. He's still got the quadrant all the way open there. Man, even just a small change immediately kills the boiler pressure even. Yeah, this is pretty. And this is a really well graded railroad through here. Look at this wide berm that we're running on. That's cool. This is like when you go through most of Colorado, you can see the old Rio Grande alignment. You can see the little pile, but this is like a big mound that they then put the railroad on top of. Now, tell me about the red Mars light on this thing. Obviously, they've since removed it because I guess they had issues with the Smokebox on the real 844. But what's the purpose? Because I've never actually honestly seen it used when they did have it.
Okay, so its purpose, and I've only seen it used once, and it was really cool, but we won't go there. So its purpose originally was to basically be kind of like a head-in brakeman. Whenever you're stopped at a passenger station or whenever there's an emergency situation where you'll be fouling like a siding track or something like that, you can throw that on and you can see it at a great distance. It throws kind of like a sideways figure 8 pattern, and it mimics like what a brakeman would do if he's throwing out a stop sign signal with either a fusee or a lantern.
Oh, cool. And it's, of course, properly animated in the Smokebox model, which is hilarious and fun. I'd never even really turned it on before. That's super cool. That's neat, because, like, let's talk in...
By the way, we're coming up to that curve where we should be doing 85.
Gotcha.
Take a set. All
right, set them up. Let's bring that automatic over. First service, leave it in there. Oops, that's saving progress. That's fine. We can do 85 around this. This is fine. Oh, I've been on narrow gauge curves broader than this.
That's good. You can kick it off.
Yep, there we go. That's fine. I'm gonna get back into the power. Yeah, it was a little spicy. It's fine. It's not like we have heavyweights with 3-axle trucks behind us either. just blitzing around this railroad here. Yeah, this is safe. This is fine.
Nothing better.
Yeah. Anyway, so I know in the narrow gauge timetables and rule books, the situation you're describing, you have to stop for some reason. You have to send flagmen out to the front and rear, and so you're saying that the Mars light can essentially act as your front flagman if you're presumably in a place that has line of sight. But
yeah, I'm actually cool. Looking through my UP rule book here for the specific rule.
One thing I never noticed about this paint scheme that's actually really cool is that the domes are still black. That's cool. It's like a nice bit of trim, almost.
And when these engines were painted that two-tone gray is when the cylinder covers became nickel-plated.
Oh, really?
Yep. If you look at like the builder's photos and everything, they're painted black. And then after this, they're always nickel, for the most part.
Huh. So was it only a certain handful of locomotives that got it, or was it the whole FEF class, or...
The whole of the FEF class.
Everything was painted this color at one point. That's cool.
And most of the mountains, most of the Pacifics, basically all the passenger power.
That's cool. I think there's still one Challenger kicking around somewhere that's still wearing it, I think.
Yeah, the 3977, which is in, North Platte. That's
right. That's cool. All right, I'm going to feed it a smidge more bar, I think. We're scooting back up to our 90 mile an hour mark that we hit earlier. I really want to see this thing touch 100. Because it is just zooming. Yeah, thinking about steam going that fast is just... it's kind of intense. I mean, just to be trackside by it doing that. Those are some big wheels. When I was younger, back in 2007, the 844 did a double header with the 4449, and it ran up my way up here in Seattle, and I got to go see it. And watching two big Northerns with 6-foot 8-inch driving wheels just roll past you, going like 40 miles an hour, but the wheels are just barely turning. You're like, holy crap! That's a sight to behold from that close to the railroad. That's cool.
It was an engine the color of a tangerine.
I see. That's our thought on the daylight scheme.
It's bright and gaudy, kind of like California, so it fits.
Well, that's that's pretty fair. The circus engine.
The speed limit through this town is 35.
All right, high ball. It's gonna high ball through the yard. Yeah, this is another one of those. We probably shouldn't be going 90 miles an hour through this curve. This might be worse than that other one. Hope nobody's at this grade crossing. We'd obliterate them. All right.
Especially if it's like a Model T, just
right.
toothpick.
just eviscerated. Yeah. Yeah, well, 93. This is the fastest we've gone yet. Come on, choo-choo. How's our pressure doing? Come on, man. Keep up. 275. Got to keep that thing right on 300.
Let's dial it back a little bit and try that where I was talking about the back pressure thing.
Yeah, let's try that. So, where do you bring the throttle back to?
About right there. Just hold it right there and see what it does.
And then start feeding it a little bit more bar?
We'll just kind of see what it does right now.
Okay. Holding at about 90. Now we're still climbing above 94.
So open up the throttle just a little bit.
Okay. A little bit more. It's about 10% more. Got it about 10% more there. Back pressure at about 7 now. Pounds? PSI?
just hold it there. See what it's doing.
Back pressure.
Your brakes are fully released, right?
They should be. Yeah, looks like, yeah, there's no set on the train. 110,
Okay.
110.
Well, there's a nice little dip coming up. You'll be gaining some speed.
Sweet.
Actually, I noticed the pressure is coming back, so let's bring the bar back a little.
Okay.
You just kind of got to rock it back and forth to get it to where you want it.
Gotcha. Just kind of sight it in and feel it in based on our indications here. So 110 psi brake pipe, is that just a passenger thing? Because most trains I've dealt with are 90.
So, again, going back to the rule book, most passenger trains were 110 in this era. Early 50s, late 40s, steam passenger trains were 90 pounds, and the streamlined trains were 110. After a while, they standardized it to 110 for passenger, 90 for heavy freight brakes for steep grades, and then 70 for, Nebraska.
and for podunk little grandma that can really have a tough time keeping enough main res separation from a 90 psi brake pipe. Yeah.
And then that eventually morphed into what we have today, which is 90 pounds.
Gotcha. I think some properties still use 110 as well, because I want to say my commuter trains actually run 110, but...
I would believe it. It gives you just that extra braking power.
Yeah, more capacity to it, faster actuation with higher pressure. It's just a good thing. It's a lovely thing that, I don't know, vacuum brakes can't do, because they can only pull vacuum. People keep trying to tell me that vacuum brakes are better, and it's like... I don't know. There's a reason that the biggest railroad system in the world uses air.
I mean, Westinghouse brakes have been around for how long? And they're pretty much the same thing as they were back then.
Right. Pretty much. We're getting there.
One of the few things that's not broke that the railroad hasn't broken yet.
Well, they'll find a way, I'm sure. They did try that that electronic braking thing. With the electronic valves, control valves all the way down the whole train, and then doing that rather than the pressure reduction of the brake pipe, which is just kind of a... It's one of those things of, okay, well, that's a neat idea, but the whole industry is built and predicated upon understanding how this works right now, and you're going to totally change the way that you interface with the train, and then have to have every single car get re-outfitted for that.
Yeah, how many billions is that?
Many. Okay. 97.5. Come on. Well, I guess we're popping the safety, so I'm going to dump the bar here a little bit. And by dump, I moved it like 6%, I think. But 97.7. Come on. And we're going up a 0.5% grade right now, so we've got a good head of steam going. There's just a light haze on the smoke, so it's looking nice. God, what a good-looking engine. 98. Come on, sweetheart. Let's do it. Well, these passenger cars are cool, too. I haven't really stared at these. They even have, like, brake hoses properly modeled and hooked in and shoot. And God, what's the word I'm thinking of? The thingy that go between the cars. Diaphragms. Them. Those are cool.
There's also stuff in the baggage car, too.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Can we get...
Through the window. If you hit control arrow, you can change the center.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Control left or right arrow. It depends on which side you're looking at.
There we go. Well, that's fun. I'm sitting over here like, man, we're stuck only 27 miles an hour over the speed limit. Just blowing through. Come on. We're back to a flat railroad. Let's do the thing. Oh, we've killed our boiler pressure as part of the problem. And the fireman's like, dude, I've got the firing valve all the way open. What more do you want from me?
Shovel it in.
Yeah, come on, man. Where's your oil shovel? I'm going to talk about making a mess.
I believe that's called a straw.
Yeah, it's like siphoning gas. Oh man, so we got another like diamond interlocking coming up here.
Yep, this is where the UP main that goes from Salt Lake to Provo.
Okay, so we're running on the Rio Grande sub the whole way then, and that's UP.
That is correct.
So we're just confused because we're running UP on Rio Grande, but it's okay. We like the Grand sometimes. It's starting to bounce around pretty good. That's one thing that I really appreciate about the Train Sim series of games, Train Sim World and this one, is that the cab feel of, oh yeah, we're going really fast, and the train's kind of doing the all over the place thing. That's really well captured, I think. It's fun.
Yeah. When you're going fast, like on a Z train, your head just bobs along.
I believe it. Come on! 97.8. There's not really much I can do as far as, like, getting more. If I open the throttle or move the bar any much more, I mean, we're going to just immediately kill the steam. I guess we could try and kill it and try and get to the 100, but...
If you're building and you're doing good, just open up the throttle, just a very small amount.
We'll set it on a casual 69% here, I think. That seems to be doing okay. And we are increasing speed a little bit more. I guess we could check into the F5 menu and see what's going on. You've got maximum fire mass. But, yeah, and maximum generation, but our usage is a little bit higher now. I wonder why that changed. Almost there. Come on, almost 99. And we're coming up to Provo. So we're going to...
Uh-oh.
Can we get to 100 before we get there? The depot's in a mile. We're gonna give it the beans. I'm wide open. Bye-bye boiler pressure. Bye-bye fire. Come on. We need half a mile an hour. Let's hope we don't throw ourselves off this curve here. 99.6. 99.7. This is... Yeah, we're going objectively too fast through here. 99.8. 99.9. Come on.
You can do it.
Come on. Yes! There it is. The big hundo. I didn't see the gauge do anything, but I guess we got to get beyond 100. Oh, yep. Good heavens. Yeah, we're just... we've killed the steam. The steam has been killed completely. And so has the train crew, because I think we would have been flown off the tracks at this speed. Violent. Blowing through the yard limits. Oh, we touched 100. We did the thing. What does the gauge do? I didn't get to see it. We'll have to get 100 again?
Well, if you go over 100, the gauge, the speedometer turns into a 200 mile an hour speedometer.
Oh, I love it. Just cycles back around. That's a good bit of fun.
Yeah. So, I think your boiler hates you now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we ruined some things for the sake of going fast, which, I mean, that sounds like my channel recently, so... But, yeah, the pressure, I mean, it dropped down to 200. It's back up to, like, 270, so we're ready to throw the steam dome off.
Next time, we'll just do a 2-car passenger train, local, and then you can do 130.
Oh, there you go. You think we could get 130 with 2 cars?
I think so.
All right. Well, that sounds like a good challenge. We are now the... oh, hang on. That was not the right amount of cars. Bye, guys. We're now the express freight only train. Give me speed and power. Sorry, the voice of Jeremy Clarkson randomly appeared. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're now doing 100. We're doing 101. Yeah, it does change to 200 mile an hour gauge. That's convenient. Come on. And it's a 60 now, so, it's just extra dangerous, right?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have much straight track anymore, so this should be entertaining.
we've completed the super flat, super fast running already.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's a lot of curves coming up. This is going to be spicy, but it's a slot car. So what's the deal? And you look behind you, and there's no train. There's just we're express baggage right now. Come on. You said you think we could do 130, so we gotta put Mallard's money where its mouth is. Although the grade approaches.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, when I said we can do 130, I mean from Salt Lake City, but
yeah, from Provo starting to head up the summit. Yeah, probably not. Just blow through these grade crossings at 107 miles an hour. It's fine.
Yeah, you've been deserted a long time ago. So.
I was gonna say they're taking my license away. Oh, good God! The camera shake when you enter that curve is just pain. Yeah, we're doing dual the speed limit now. Pretty sure these grade crossings were not designed to activate in time for my madness. It's fine.
Yeah, the bells probably ring like 2, maybe 3 times, and you're already through.
Bing, ding, ding, nyum. Yeah, with the 0.9% grade. I mean, is this the big grade all the way?
No.
No.
It
okay.
actually jumps up to 2.1%.
But we're now on the big ruling grade of the railroad, so
you'll be going up grade the rest of the way.
Well,
for the most part.
Well, I guess there's one final way that we can try and do this. And you're gonna think this is stupid, but we've already slingshotted our boiler back down to nothing, so we might as well do the stupid way.
We can do 140 stationary.
That's a vibe.
I mean, seriously, bring it to a stop, and I'll show you how.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna send it into full speed down reverse downhill, but yeah, no, we could also do 140 standing still. That sounds fun. That sounds like destroyed valve gear.
Exactly.
That sounds like Smokebox programming a message to yell at me for being a bad locomotive engineer, actually. I support this. Well, we did honestly achieve really good speed. 107, I think, was the top. That's kind of brilliant. And now we've just got a nice, a casual... Oh, it's just 10-pounder on there. 10-pound set. Okay. Slowing nice and easy. And it feels like now we're just not doing any speed at all, but we're still doing 50, so...
And there goes the tire.
That's fine. Yeah, we didn't bail off the engine. It's fine. That's one of those things, like, with a mouse, it doesn't do the thing right for you compared to your muscle memory, right? Because you're like, okay, I have 2 hands, I apply, and I bail at the same time, and with the mouse, you're like, okay, I put the thing over, and now I don't have...
This is why I have to use the keys.
Right, yeah. I really should just learn all of the keybinds and just do it the right way. But we slingshotted the boiler pressure back up to 300, so that's cool. What does the firebox look like? Chernobyl. It's fine.
Chernobyl with a rainstorm.
Indeed, with a rainstorm. Where's the locomotive? Everywhere. It exploded. Alright, come on, sweetheart. Let's finish up here. Go into service. Get a little bit more of a set. See if we can't put some flat spots on the passenger cars first.
Yeah, one other cool thing, I don't know if you noticed, is the throttle on the outside of the boiler is fully animated.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that is awesome. You can see right here. Oh, well, we're already trying to do a burnout. Because I've still got the set on it, which is probably the way to do the burnout if we're being real. But so the throttle linkage with the front end throttle is usually exterior to the locomotive. Bar comes up, and we're actually actuating the rod right about there. Runs through. It has the reverse pivot there. And then it goes into the smoke box up here. And it actually actuates a throttle at the superheater header. So it's a lot more direct control than compared to something like 491 or the other Ks have, where you're controlling the throttle before all of the mess of pipe work. So you got to be ready to go pretty early here. It's trying to move so hard.
Well, let's just do some wheel spin and see what you can do.
The Speedo's not giving a readout, though.
That's because the speedometer is attached to the trailing truck.
Oh. Our steam usage is just nothing. Which is not how that works.
Well, you know, you gotta get things around the core game some way, somehow, right?
Right.
Gotta love scripting.
Hey, there we go. We blew our heads off. There it is, folks.
There, you can say you finally done 140 in it.
We did 140 mile an hour. The wheels did. Well, shoot, that was a lot of fun. Well, again, thanks for joining me, Justin. This was a lot of fun, and yeah, shoot, that was some quick running. It was a bit I don't know, it was pedestrian. It was kind of nice and easy with that light train, but you know, maybe next time we'll do something that's going to be a little challenging, or maybe just do the oil firing and let the engineer do the thing. But
we can always do that.
Anyway, and then of course we are looking forward to Smokebox's Challenger coming out, hopefully sometime in the near future. So that'll be fun to see. I'm excited for that as well, and maybe we'll be able to get together on that too. That would be cool.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining me, and everyone, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, click the like button. If you're new here, make sure you click the subscribe button as well, or click the little bell if you want to know when I'm uploading stuff. And as always, thank you to the ES&D train crew, our brakemen and conductors who help support the channel monetarily. I appreciate that so much. It really, really helps me out. And plus, you get a couple little cool perks along the way, and it really helps make the live streams extra fun. And Justin, you're one of them, so thank you.
And you know what? It's worth it.
Hey!
It's really worth it.
And endorsement from someone not me, so look at that. I didn't even pay him to say that.
Yeah.
Yet. Yeah. Well, we'll discuss that later.
Sounds
Anyways,
good.
Thanks so much for watching, everyone. We'll catch you next time.